of it's going in cycles where for a long time Microsoft and Xbox were clearly winning, and now we've flipped back to Sony and PlayStation winning, and I think that really helps with competition. I think it's only good for the consumer.
Yeah, definitely.
I suppose this is a good point to ask. How do you feel about all this PS Neo stuff, Richard?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess full disclosure, obviously we're a independent studio at Stormcloud, so we don't, even though we work with Sony, we're not kind of, owned by Sony. And because of that, we haven't received any Neo news. We're not a first party or a second party. We're just an independent. So what we know is kind of the same as you actually, in terms of the rumors and so forth. But I don't know. I think it's tough. I think you need to. Jumping to Xbox for a few seconds, I think their reveal of their new console was done really well. It sounds very powerful. It sounds it does sound like a bigger leap than the rumored, although we'll never know for sure for a while now, than the rumored Neo specs. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's tough all round. I think a lot of consumers will want an upgraded console. Because people like to get the new stuff, right? But is that the mass market? It's really hard to say. And then from a dev point of view, it's great and bad at the same time. It's great because you get to work on newer hardware, right? So It's kind of like working on a PC. If things are newer, you can make better improvements to your game. But then obviously, from a QA point of view, you're testing it twice because you're testing it on the original hardware and then the newer hardware. So your sort of testing period and your bug fixing period increases. So I think there's pros and cons all around. I think that it's probably a good thing. And again, I know nothing about the Neo other than what we've read online. But I think it's probably a good thing that Xbox has came out and being so aggressive with their, hey, our new system is this, and if that makes Sony go back and actually up their game again, like I was saying a minute ago, that's great for the consumer because we're going to get even stronger hardware going forward. So it's really hard to say. It's the first time this has happened, as far as I know anyway, in terms of like a mid-generation spike in hardware in terms of, its technical specs. So I've no idea what the consumer will do with that, especially in the same year that VR is coming out, right? Because it kind of, generally speaking, most people will buy one, maybe even none. So adding another hardware on top of that is, again, an increased cost. So it's going to be really, really interesting. I have legitimately no idea if it's going to be a positive or negative thing for either platform, but time will tell. What do you guys think?
I'm sort of under the impression that Sony may have taken this back to the drawing board after Microsoft did their early reveal. Because the power differences are pretty substantial, and I think if the rumors of Sony releasing Neo this year are correct, that might be a problem with VR coming out at the same time, which would mean dumping 1,000 Australian dollars into new console stuff in a year, which is pretty outlandish.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Although we did it for PS3s at launch.
Well, I did.
Oh, God. Richard, what's a teraflop?
It is a big flip-flop that you wear on both feet at the same time.
It's like a pterodactyl made out of pterodactyl skin, I think, that they get from the ground.
Exactly.
Now, I had a question. Would this dramatically increase, or maybe not dramatically, but would you notice like a big increase in cost of development if there's now your 2 main consoles have gone to 4 main consoles?
Yeah, so I mean, so it's hard to say exact cost, but I'm going to take it back a few years to when I used to work in mobile. And working in mobile was a pain in the ass because, you had iPhone, you had Android, you had Windows Phone, and they all had different resolutions, they all had different tech and hardware running them, and you had to test on all of them. And no matter what happened, no matter how, out the box it should work, there was always one thing, like, this Android phone doesn't run the game well because of X, Y, and Z. So you fix it for that one device. So, and that's different, don't get me wrong, but comparing that to console, I think it will increase your costs on the simple fact you'll now need to test on both systems. And I think any developer who believes that it'll run the same on both, it'll be fine, you can't take that risk. Like if someone buys that hardware for $500, whatever the price is, right? So they buy this hardware and then they buy your game for $20, $30, $40, $50. They expect that you've tested it on the thing that you say it works on. Yeah, for sure. So you've got to test the full thing on that. And the way that QA cycles generally work, and everyone's different, is that if you're testing the game, let's say you've got your PS4 and your PS Neo, whatever they call it, you'll test it on both of them. If you find a bug, you will do a new build and you'll test the full thing again. So you're basically testing it again on both systems again. So you're kind of like almost doubling your QA time. Maybe not quite doubling it, but you're definitely increasing your QA time. And that will obviously eat into your development time because then you'll need more QA time. So you're either taking longer to make a game or you're cutting your game time shorter to QA it longer. So again, I think it'll be quite interesting. A lot of this you will probably do in parallel. You'll be testing it along the way. It could be that if you've got a big enough QA team, you could put half the QA team on the new kit and half them on the old kit, and it'll kind of maybe work itself out. But then you're obviously halving your QA team per kit sort of thing. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I think it's definitely doable. I mean, PC testing you do all the time, right? Different monitors, different graphics cards. Yeah. So it's not an unknown thing. It's just new for console development. So I think there'll be some changes to accommodate it. But I think if you're already developing for PC, you're kind of already used to that. So I think it's more the first parties or the console exclusive people that will maybe feel the initial bite. But I think over time you'll work into your schedules and it should actually pan itself out.
Yeah, in working on Brutal now, have you guys thought about taking this into account at all? Because there was parts of the rumors that any game released before a certain date would have to be patched to allow for Neo support and whatnot.
So, I mean, we discussed it briefly internally, but again, not being first party or even second party, we don't really know that much about the Neo. So it's hard to kind of plan around something that, you can only look so much at rumored specs. Especially now when we don't even, they've kind of gone quiet on it again. Obviously, it wasn't at E3, so you can't really plan around that. I mean, we'll be out if the rumored date of October is still true, which it probably isn't. But if that is still true, we'll be out well before that. So it could be we do an update later, perhaps. Yep. But right now, there's no kind of plans around it, and that's purely from a details point of view. We don't know enough to kind of make a plan. If that makes sense. Yeah. Exactly.
It's interesting times. I'm not ready to give up on my regular PS4.
I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Mine is going to die.
Yeah, so this might work out.
I've been playing The Witcher, and if I don't have headphones on, I can't hear the TV. It is so loud.
Oh, no. Oh, wow, yeah.
I'm on the brink of buying thermal paste and cleaner and opening my PlayStation up to clean it.
Oh, The Witcher. Now, that's a day-night cycle.
That's a weather effect.
Yeah, that's some dynamic weather right there.
Do we have more news?
Yep.
A little sidetrack.
Yeah, whoa. It's interesting, though. I like hearing somewhat like a different perspective on it, Richard. We've sort of just been in our little circle jerk talking about it.
Our little speculation circle.
With the first episode of Batman the Telltale series launching this summer, Telltale Games has confirmed that all Season 1 episodes are scheduled for release this year. Speaking at E3, Richard Igo, Telltale's Senior Director of Marketing, said they're aiming to have all 5 episodes this season out in 2016. With the first episode coming soon, we should see each subsequent episode every month or so.
So here's the thing, very quickly. I cannot wait for the Batman game. I'm so excited.
Me too.
But that sentence, you'll get the first episode will come out, and every month or so you'll get the next one. I can't do it again. Just I think I might wait for the full season and just buy it and play through it. In one sitting, but play through it quicker.
I'm tempted just to do it episodically because I've never done that before with the Telltale game.
I did it with. I sort of did it with what was the last one?
Tales.
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe it was Gale. I can't remember. I don't know. I don't have the willpower to wait. I don't think.
Well, it's also because, especially around that time of year, there's so many games coming out that I don't think it would be a bad thing to just have maybe a little 2-hour game to just work through every month or so, just to mix it up a little bit.
That's true.
Between my Battlefield 1 and South Park and...
Actually, quick shout out to Podcast Beyond. I was listening to that today. I know we're not meant to talk about other
how dare you
PlayStation podcasts, but here we are. Those guys were talking about how they were told that you're playing this game and, like the big decisions you make and stuff.
Sorry, in Batman.
Yeah, in Batman. That you, like, say, like a villain's threatening the city, you can sort of choose at certain junctures to deal with it as Batman or Bruce Wayne. And that will sort of, like, affect a lot of it, I guess. I mean, we've heard all this before from Telltale, that there's huge effects to your decisions. And there sort of are.
Is.
Well, there sort of is, but it's never as, like...
Someone either dies and someone survives, but I always feel like it's the classic diamond-shaped story where it branches out in the middle and then you always get to the same point at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be like that, right?
And I'm fine with it. Like, Tales from the Borderlands was so much fun. Like, surprisingly so.
It really was. All right.
I can't wait, though.
Yeah.
You can actually watch Batman be a detective.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I love Batman. In a new survey from Shovel Knight's developer Yacht Club Games, they're asking fans what they'd like to see next from them, noting that all games they would make would be in a retro graphical style similar to Shovel Knight, and that this is merely a suggestion poll to gauge excitement. Yacht Club Games lists these options, which include Shovel Knight 2. So these guys are basically fielding ideas. I thought this was like an interesting way to...
Gauging
like interest. Yeah. So they've got Shovel Knight 2, which would be a sequel to Shovel Knight with everything you loved about the first game, including incremental gameplay changes and a cool new cast of characters. Shovel Knight and Shield Knight, which would be a multiplayer-only side-scrolling platformer prequel where all levels are traversed cooperatively. Play the entire game with a friend, maybe even online. Shovel Kart, classic mode 7 style racing featuring the cast of Shovel Knight in unique vehicles, racing with power-ups and wacky situations. No. A Mega Man style side-scrolling platformer about jumping and shooting, or even a Metroidvania style Metroid game featuring Shovel Knight.
Featuring Shovel Knight?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd definitely be way keen for a Castlevania style Shovel Knight.
It's pretty interesting. Like, I just thought that was... I mean, I guess they are only gauging interest, but imagine if, like, they made Shovel Kart based on this.
The co-op one sounds alright if you didn't have to play it co-op with someone.
Yeah. Oh god, I'm forgetting the name. I just read they're releasing 2 more DLCs. Spectre Knight. Yeah, Spectre Knight and King Knight campaigns. And they're free.
Yeah, the Plague Knight, I think, is out now, and it was a free one as well.
I tried it, but it was just so different I couldn't get used to it. But I love the idea of it.
It's free.
I think I could be wrong, so I'm gonna say that now. But I think they're free because they were Kickstarter goals.
Oh, cool!
I think, of course. I actually completely forgot it was a Kickstarter game.
Yeah,
it was one of the success stories, I think. Oh.
And then there was Mighty Number 9.
Oh god. I didn't include it. That's actually the end of the news, but I did see a story today from Inafune sort of taking the blame for all just like the terrible reviews.
I saw quotes from him saying a release is... Because then there was an article about people not getting their Kickstarter like perks or whatever they're called.
And also people
Sorry, real quick. That a release was better than nothing.
Oh, I saw that too.
And I was like, ooh.
And they also said... people that backed it were sent the wrong codes, so it didn't even work. So it's sort of just like...
falling apart.
Yeah, bad all around.
Sucks. And then he said maybe there'd be a sequel, but...
Oh, God.
I wouldn't hold that hope.
Well, let's move on to something more positive, Richard. Tell us about E3, the most magical time of year.
The land of dreams.
Have you travelled to America before?
Well, I was at PSX in December, and then I've been to PAX as well at a previous company. So I've been a couple of times, but my first ever E3/LA visit.
Ah,
how was it?
It was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. It was my first time, so I was trying to hide my excitement, but I wasn't doing very well. So it was just great. It was kind of what you expect. Everyone was. It had a different atmosphere than a normal convention because it wasn't really public facing. So it was it had a different atmosphere, but you kind of got used to that after a couple of hours. But no, it was great. People were really kind of happy and positive, and kind of walking around playing games. Everyone was chatting. It was just a really nice kind of friendly and positive atmosphere. It's kind of hard to explain, but it was just kind of like a great place to go and not only show your game, but see other games and chat about games. Everyone was willing to just come over and say hi to you and chat away and kind of get that 2 minutes with you and ask what you were doing and what the game was, sort of thing. So it kind of always felt like a positive thing. And even people